Okay, cool. My name is CJ, just in case you don't know me as yet. And basically, some of you have asked this question, where you're from, and so what do you do? Well, my hometown is in Singapore. Right, I've been, and 2 days ago, it's Singapore's 48th National Day. And I've been living in Shanghai for coming to 10 years. So excuse me for the funny accent. I don't sound very Singapore. I don't really act very Singaporean as well. So, right. I guess my DNA has changed over the years. That could be the plausible explanation. One of the things that we do, the company name is called Directions Consulting. And what we do is we help companies improve business performances by helping their people to improve their people's performances. So what we do is we do a lot of training in areas of sales and leadership and experiential learning. And probably in the future we're looking at Kurt over here. Just some brief introduction of Kurt here. Be careful of him because he's really funny.
On the spot.
Everybody does that. Kurt, by the way, is doing a lot of improvisation, 即兴演出. All right, so and we're exploring how we can use that as a means to do training. You can use it in doing presentation on the spot, handling difficult customers on the spot, handling pressurizing stressful situations in front of your boss on the spot. So that's true. Yeah. So this we'll be exploring with those aspects as well. So in a nutshell, that's what Directions is doing. Okay. So for the topic this morning, it's on: are you self-aware of your strengths and limitations as a leader? Okay. So how many of you believe that there are people in your company? I'm going to externalize this a little bit. We are not talking about ourselves. We're talking about some people in your company. How many of you believe that there are people in your company that are clueless about their own strengths and weaknesses? Anyone? Are there people like that in your company? Okay, cool. Right. So there are people like that. And why is it, as a leader, it is important to have some level of self-awareness? Anyone want to volunteer someone else's?
Because you're a reflection of the people you lead.
It's a reflection of the people you lead. What else? Let's rephrase it the other way around. What will happen if you have a manager or a leader that does not have self-awareness? What's going to happen? Yes?
They'll take on the wrong role and they'll end up doing more damage than good, probably.
They'll take on the wrong role, they may damage themselves. Well, I'm going to have some real cases. We'll come back to this question in a while. What's the differences between a leader and a manager? We'll go into one real case of a client. Basically, we've got three persons, A, B, and C. A is the bigger boss, B is the middle boss, and C is the subordinate. Okay, so we've got A, B, and C, three levels. So one fine day, C, working for B, has got some attitude problems. Okay, it's just like complaining on a job, not willing to do the job, and basically throwing the tantrums, something like this. B saw that and gave some feedback, direct feedback to C, saying that you have a bad attitude, is there a problem, can you do your job properly, that kind of normal feedback, nothing wrong with that. C became very upset and went to A, who is B's boss, and complained about the whole situation. Okay, and A, for some reason, believed everything that C mentioned. Maybe some of them is true, maybe some of them is not so true. So A actually believed everything, and then call on B and question B why you are mistreating, ill-treating your employee. Okay, so that's A, lack of awareness of what's happening. B, because she felt that her boss has treated her unfairly, as in not finding out what actually went on and passed some judgment on her, so she was really, really upset. To the extent she's now thinking of not quitting because it's a nice company, comfortable job, so it's not worthwhile quitting. She's going to think about, she'll just do just a minimum on the job and just, don't care for everything else. Since the boss wants to interfere, let the boss interfere everything. I'll just do the bare minimum. I'll just show up and do nothing, or do the bare minimum and push everything to the boss. Okay, that's a typical story. It actually happened, and the key thing is it's not that uncommon. It happened quite a lot in many organizations, and objectively we will think that why do we have managers who are supposed to be mature, who are supposed to be able to handle things like this, like an adult, and are behaving like kids. And these are some of the things that are happening. Okay, so that's some of the things that if you lack the self-awareness of what's going on, what you should do, what you should not do, these are some of the basic problems that may arise as a result. Right. Oh, by the way, the slides we will actually convert into PDF and send everybody a copy, so you don't have to copy every single word over here. So that's why I can enjoy food while we talk. Coming back to this topic, since we had a lot of networking, I hope there was some discussion on this topic apart from the networking. Was there? There is? Okay, cool. Now, what are some of the differences between a leader and a manager? Anyone? 领导跟经理有什么区别? Yes, please.
For me, I just operate as an architecture.
Yeah, so whatever you say is her opinion. If you say the wrong thing, it's all her fault. Shoot her up.
Okay, so for me, the leader could be a project head and a department head. And the manager, and he or she has a team, fixed number of persons.
Okay.
He manage.
So a leader doesn't have a fixed number of people.
It could be a fixed number of people. It could be a project, cross-functional.
Okay, can lead a cross-functional project, that kind of thing. Okay.
And the manager is really someone who has his own needs, and really need to manage the daily business or for particular functions, for example, sales or projects or purchasing.
Sure. Okay, so there's functional managers and then there's cross-functional leaders. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. There's someone coming in? We don't have someone coming in. Hi, Olivia.
Yeah.
There's the first class seats. If you sit in an airplane, no. You always get upgraded first class. We all know that, yeah. Right, and because you're late, we ran out of food. I'm sorry. So. Right. Yeah. So you're saying that managers could be functional managers and leaders could be cross-functional leaders. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. What are some of the other differences? Do note that we're saying the differences, plural. Yes.
And in my opinion, a manager, the position of manager is an appointed, either externally or self-appointed, whereas leader is something that emerges from within a person. Leadership.
Okay, one is appointed and one is emerging. How do you define that emerging role? Does it come from inside?
Usually a leader wants to affect change somehow.
Yes.
Change in a positive way, in a direction that he sees.
Right.
And so an effective leader inspires others to follow his vision rather than necessarily follow him.
Sure. Okay. Follow vision rather than follow that person.
In my opinion.
Interesting. Any other differences? Yes. Sorry, just hang on a second.
That I just want to put because the manager has been appointed to some titles and he has authorities from companies, but the leader doesn't need that. He just to push the group or the group of persons to reach the target according to his or her influence power.
Right.
Maybe not that.
Okay, leaders use influence and power, and managers has got a job title.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, I think actually the colleagues said almost I want to say.
Yeah.
But one thing is one thing I think the leader, just from the word, the leader is someone who leads a group of people to go a direction.
Right.
For
Okay.
vision of
What is
one.
direction?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not the direction. Can influence the people,
Sure,
and lead the people go a direction.
Right. Okay.
A manager is to manage something done.
Okay.
That
Decide what to do and how
yes,
to
what
do
to
it.
do,
Okay.
yes, and do the task or the to the for
Okay.
the
Okay.
he got the
Sure.
task and to manager
Okay.
and to have the group manage things.
Okay,
That's one
sure.
thing. And second thing, I think leader is appointed by the people. They're not maybe as they're not having,
Leaders are supported by the followers,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Whereas managers are appointed by the company.
yes.
Okay.
And they're because I see some their leader because
Right.
they don't have any position. But
Sure.
they,
Sure. They've got huge influencing power. Right? They've got a lot of followers who are informally following them. Okay. So in a way, there are two key distinctions between a leader and a manager. I mean, these two words sometimes we use them interchangeably, so one can replace the other. There are two distinctions though. One is the part on job title. A manager is always a job title, right? So if you're a manager of some sort, it's almost 100% job title. It's a title that is given to you by the company. If you own the company, then it's also a title that you gave yourself. It's a job title. Whereas a leader may or may not be a job title, and in the true sense of the definition, the word leader, you usually will need to have supporters around you or followers around you who somehow feel or felt that you are their leader. Right? In that context, you may be in a way cross-functional leader, or you may be a leader in a certain situation, but not a leader in other situations. So just to give an example, something more fun. How many of you have got annual parties, annual dinners in your company? Yeah, we all have fun, right? So whoever has been assigned to organize the annual party, annual dinner, in a way you are the leader of that party. You lead the party. If there's no fun, then no one wants you to be a leader anymore. But if you haven't had fun, then you will be the continuous leader, the fun leader, right? So in the context of organizing the annual party, you are a leader. Outside of that, you won't be the leader. Okay, so that's in that definition. In that definition also, can you be the leader of your boss? Can your boss be your follower? Yeah, you could, because you're a leader of that fun party, right? The boss will just give support. If you want budget, you ask for the boss. If you want support in other resources, you ask for the boss. But basically, you tell the boss, this is how we are going to have fun. This is how we are going to have that annual party.
The boss is an effective leader.
Yeah, yes. So you actually lead the boss in that typical specific scenario. Okay, that's one distinction. The other distinction is what we mentioned about the what and the how and so on. Managers will decide what to do, how we do it, right? Basically, you make sure things are being done the right way. That is managers. Leaders decide the where we are going. We're talking about direction, right? That's why probably, I guess, why our company is called Directions, I think. It said the where. What's more important than where we are going? If you're a bunch of followers and your leader says this is where we are going, what is the next question?
How do we get there?
It's not about how. How is the manager move? It's why.
Why?
Why are we going there? What's so good about that place? Why we are not staying put here? Right? So if you're influencing people to change, to inspire people to do something else, it's about the question why. Why we are going to a certain direction. Okay, or we want to make some changes, we want to do something strange, funny, difficult, challenging. That's the reason why. Okay, and that goes into oh yes, Olivia, there's the food.
I'm so worried.
Right. We're looking at self-awareness as a leader. If you're not self-aware of a few things, if you're not self-aware about market sentiments, resource challenges, if you're not self-aware about your team, their sentiments, their aspirations, their concerns, there's a lot of things that you will not be able to do in the why factor. You may not be as effective to inspire, to influence your people. Make sense? Right? So, and hence, the three topics that we're going to have, why it's important to have self-awareness as a leader. We're also looking to what are good and bad feedback from your people. That's part of self-awareness. And if you want to improve self-awareness, what are ways that we can do in simple, objective, and practical ways? This is just basically three different topics, and then we can have some comments. If you have some questions or contributions, please feel free to do so throughout the presentation as well as at the end of the presentation as well. Yeah. We mentioned the case just now. It's a real case. Part of the other things about why you need to have self-awareness. One is about gaining support and buy-in from the team members. Right? So it's about as a leader, you lead by influencing. As a manager, you manage with authority. Okay, so it's a different thing. As a manager, you tell people what to do because it's in the rule, right? Because I'm your manager, you listen to what I say. It's part of that authoritative thing. So you could get people to do things, but if you just only have authority without influence, what's going to happen? If you only have authority and no influence,
Nothing will happen.
well, something will happen.
You'll be a lot less effective.
You'll be a lot less effective.
Similar to your first case study. The
Yeah.
reason that that employee finally decided, well, I'm not going to leave the company, but I'm going to do the bare minimum.
Yeah.
That's out of respect for the manager's position.
Yes.
Not respect for the leader's influence.
Yeah, in a way, probably there's no respect at all. I mean, it's just that it's out of the confines of the rules and regulations of the company, because my boss tells me what to do. So if I'm going to stay around, then I have to obey the rules. It's not even respect, it's just obeying the rules. Right? So anything that my manager does not say, I won't do. Even when my manager tells me to do something, I'll just do whatever they said, and that's it. I won't ever go the additional step. So that's when you have pure management and no influencing, no leadership. Right? So that's that. Is there a problem if we have only leadership and no management?
Yes.
What? You got pure leadership, no management.
You don't know how to do it.
You don't know how to do it? What else?
And what
might go out of control.
Out of control. There's no boundaries of who to do what. Everybody is very inspired. We want to go somewhere. We know the direction, but who to do what? How do you divide your roles and responsibilities? How do you make sure that everybody is on the same page? Nothing of that. You also don't have ways to measure how well you are doing. Are you reaching your goals? Are you not reaching your goals? Are you exceeding your goals? How much do you have to do before you reach your goals? None of this. Okay, so we need both leadership and management. It's not to say that one is better than the other. We need both of them to be effective. So from a leader point of view, if you want to have the additional influence over your team, having that lack of self-awareness, you may not get the buy-in and support from team members. Okay. Now, why is the concept of a team so important today? Everywhere we go, it's about, in the most basic form, we hear terms like team building. Right? It's now summer, and some companies like to bring everybody out into the sun, hot, sweat, and hug one another. Even though we all sweat and stink, and we still want to hug one another. So we have team building. We talk about teamwork. We talk about team leadership. So why is the concept of team so important today?
Team make things happen.
Team makes things happen. What else?
And there's, I think, two points. One is the relatively the extra job can be by one person. Because the knowledge is always already spread.
You have limited knowledge as a leader now, today more than ever. Yeah.
And second point is, I think the weakness and the strength is different. You can balance the strength, weakness with the team.
Right. Right. Okay. Excellent. One key thing is that we are known in this age known as the information age. In fact, it's called information explosion. Right. We are the kind of information is doubling every 7 hours or whatever. We have lots and lots of information. A leader himself, herself, will not be able to get all the information, all the knowledge, for sure. Okay, so that is happening. Two is that different people has got different strengths and weaknesses, both in terms of skills or hard skills as well as in terms of soft skills. Some people are better thinkers. They have better ideas. You make better analysis. Some people are better in taking action. And some other people are very good in huiing other people. Getting along with other people. People person. So we have different strengths in different areas for different people. So as a leader, more and more you need to leverage on the different aspects of the different strengths of your team members. And you're unlikely to have all of them in one person. Very unlikely. Right. So that's one of the key things that you need to gain support and buy-in from team members. One key quote we use here is, no one is perfect, but a team can be. Individuals are not perfect, but you can have the perfect team. This is a quote from a person called Dr. Meredith Belbin, and we will talk a bit about the Belbin model in a while. There's a lot of research on team effectiveness, team leadership, and so on. So that's a quote from Dr. Belbin. In addition to this quote, there's actually something that is not mentioned here. No one is perfect, but a team can be in a specific situation. In other words, you can have a perfect team in a situation, but not in all situations. Okay, so it also depends on the situation to situation. The other thing, this is what we usually get in the army. As a Singaporean, we have to do national service. We serve the army, and this is being emphasized throughout. In the army, authority is given, but respect is earned. If you don't have the buy-in and support, or even if you don't feel you are being respected by your team, one of the explanations that you can have is you haven't earned the respect of your team yet. Okay, so authority, the company can give you the authority as a manager. You can get people to do things. Whether they are committed, whether they take initiative, whether they are willing to go the extra mile for you, depends on how you have earned the respect or not. Okay, so how then do you usually earn respect from the team members? Listen to them. Okay, that's great. What else? Give support. One key thing again is from the army as well. It's called lead by example. Yeah, and how do you lead by example? Does it mean that as a leader or manager you do the same things as your as people do? Does it mean that if you're a sales manager you go out selling? You're an engineering manager, you do the engineering job? No.
No, but a lot of your behavior translates.
A lot of behavior translates. Just to give a very simple example, right? Let's assume that as a manager, you want to emphasize that everybody should come to work on time, punctually. Okay? And let's say you start work at 9 in the morning and tell everybody that we start work at 9, we need to arrive on time at 9, sharp. And then you come to work at 9:30. What's going to happen?
Team will lose respect for you. That's one thing.
When will everybody come to work?
9:25.
9:25, exactly. Right, so this is going to happen. You set a standard, you don't follow the standard, and people follow the leader, unfortunately or fortunately. People don't follow what you say, they follow what you do. So if you want to earn respect, it depends on your behaviors, depends on what you do as a leader, or if you want to be a leader. And that's how you gain respect from the people, right? The other thing, also, 孙子兵法, Sun Tzu Art of War. Everybody heard about that book? Yes, about it. Right. So.
Away from that book.
Right. So some of the leadership criteria based on Sun Tzu Art of War. 5 aspects of a leader, right? Wisdom, trust, compassion, courage, and discipline. So, 智信仁勇严. Okay, so there's 5 aspects of leadership. They don't use the term leadership in Sun Tzu Art of War. They use, in a way, the way of the general, right? Because leadership was quite a relatively later concept. Back then, 2,500 years ago, you don't have the term called leadership. In any case, what's interesting here is that things like wisdom, trust, even compassion. Why are we talking about compassion when the art of war is about killing other people?
You're talking about compassion with your own team, right?
Exactly, talking about compassion with your own team, not with the enemy. With your own team, because the business of war is that people in your own team will die too, right? They can get very badly injured as well. They need to go through a lot of suffering if they want to have victory, and sometimes they lose, right? So in a way, in your own team, you need to show compassion to your own team as well. So the elements of trust, elements of wisdom, you need to gain wisdom from not just yourself, but from the team as well. In the military, and that's from 2,500 years ago in the military in China. And the reason why we bring up this concept is this. This whole thing about self-awareness, about team leadership, is not some kind of new agey, and even to a certain extent, not some kind of a feminine kind of thing, right? It's not necessarily that way. The concept of team leadership, the concept of listening to your team members, has been around for thousands of years, even in Asia, even in China. Okay. Sorry, you think?
So I afterwards ask the question.
Okay, sure. So this is some sort of things that has been around for many years, and it's been even being used in something as robust, something as the way you want to define it, as masculine as the military, right? It has been there, and it's still important for you as a leader to have that level of self-awareness. Okay, so that's for us to understand. Now,
I have
yes,
a question.
yes.
To the page.
Yes. Please.
Back to the compassion. Actually, I want to ask you in this one.
Yes.
Then I think it's Sun Tzu actually is a Chinese guy, and but I experienced now more in the organizing joint venture in the foreign company.
Yes.
It's a value. Compassion.
Yes.
For the team.
Yes.
But I learned now for the Chinese, because we have now joint venture with the private owner. So then I noticed it's in Chinese company, some managers or whatever, the leader was a leader, they use different people also in the team to balance each other.
Sure.
And that's very...
Yes, I know. It's about do you want to build a strong team, or do you want to consolidate power?
I've seen that too.
Right? I mean, you see that a lot. It's not just Chinese teams, it happens everywhere. It's not just micromanagement, it's about power consolidation. It's about how you gain power in an organization by, in a way, divide and conquer, if you want
I
to.
think it stems from fear myself, but
No, it stems from fear as well. It could be. Now, this is, and thanks for bringing that up. And some people say that that is what the ancient emperors in China do. And what they didn't know is that probably brought the fall of the old Qing dynasty as well. Okay, so if you're the whole story goes whereby if you are the emperor, 中国皇帝, right? If you're the emperor and you've got ministers below you, right? And if you're not careful, the ministers may actually gain the power and the authority, and you will be stepped aside, and you basically become a puppet emperor. So what you do to make sure that you consolidate power to your own is you divide the ministers and let them fight among themselves. So that while they are busy fighting amongst themselves, you gain power. So that's how things is being done. Now we're not going to say to talk about the ethics, the moral issues of such practice. What we just want to look into are the implications of such a team. If you don't face external competition, it's okay. If you're a monopoly, if you basically are on your own, or if you're in a position that the nearest competitor has got like 20, 30 years before they can ever catch up with you, then you probably can do whatever you want to consolidate your power and make people fight one against the other, right? But if you have a foreign threat, if you have competition, then it's a matter of who's got the stronger team, who can actually get their act together and crush the other team. Sometimes, okay. So it's a matter of how you look at things, right? And even when you're playing one against the other, you also use compassion. Well, in a more twisted sense, in a sense that you are compassionate you show compassion to the side that you want to win favor, or you want to get them to do some things for you. Right? You can use compassion in a more manipulative way sometimes, in that sense. So, you have a further question?
Yes, because I cannot understand if you let the people fight against each other.
Yes.
Some kind of compassion that I can.
Well, compassion doesn't mean. We'll come back to the exact question about getting people to fight one another. Compassion doesn't mean being nice. Right? There's a huge difference and a huge distinction. Being nice is in being nice to your people, always be smiling, don't lose your temper, don't criticize other people. That's being nice. Compassion means understanding what the needs of the other person and find ways if we can actually fulfill their needs, if possible, if it's doable. Okay, so in an organization, compassion could mean that can you align your company's goals with the aspirational career goals of your team? So that's one way of being compassionate about what they're doing. Compassion sometimes can come in a sense of what is known as tough love. What is tough love? If you're these days in Chinese TV, in the media, we have a term called the wolf daddy, 狼爸, or the wolf mummy, 狼妈, the very fierce and strict parent. Basically, sometimes they beat up the kid, sometimes they use other means to push the kid. Basically, it's about pushing the employee or the team member to the point where you actually excel much better. Right? And surprisingly, employees, and this is a survey, these are from employee engagement surveys. Employees don't like nice managers. They like managers or leaders who are able to push them to achieve things beyond what they thought they could do. This are from employee engagement surveys. If you're being nice to employees, well, employees in a way will feel that, okay, you're a nice boss, but then again, they may not really be supportive of you. They want to have bosses who are able to push them beyond what they think they could achieve. Right, so and it really depends on how you actually push people. In a nicer way, you can actually set standards and remind people and phrase things in a nice way to tell people, keep on reminding them that they need to achieve more. That's a nice way. If you are doing things the Steve Jobs way, well, I know it's breakfast, but this is what Steve Jobs always says. I'm sorry, but this is shit. Right? Whatever you give to Steve Jobs, the first impression, and 9 out of 10 times, is this is shit. Okay, so and some of the employees could not take it, and they leave. They left. Those who could take it actually found that they're being challenged, and they exceed expectations of both the bosses and their own, and achieve something even bigger. Okay, that's the Steve Jobs way. If you look at things in the military way, military life, especially in ancient China or ancient anywhere, is tough life. You make simple mistakes, you get beaten, right? And in a way, it is compassion, even though you are given a very tough beating, because if you don't correct those mistakes, if you don't be the best soldier you are ever going to be, you will die in battle. Right? In a way, you are protecting your team from a bigger threat by being really, really nasty to them in a more controlled environment. So in that sense, compassion is not always being nice. It's about in a way, it's also helping our team members to make each member the best performer they can ever be. Because if they don't, they may lose their jobs. Or if they don't, and if they were to leave the company, they may not get a better job elsewhere. Okay, so in a way, in that sense, it's also compassion. Yeah. So in terms of getting teams to compete one another, in terms of internal competition, there's always what I call virtuous competition and vicious competition. There is a good competition and there's a bad competition. Bad competition is, in order to win, I do really whatever it takes, which includes sabotaging my my internal teams, my internal competitor, okay? or by doing things that are detrimental for the whole team, like not sharing information, not willing to pass on referrals or pass on resources or share resources. Okay, these are the bad parts of competition that we don't want. But sometimes internal competition can be good because it spurs team to achieve more, be more creative, be more innovative, and sometimes have more fun. And this is something, this is a story that was told by Ocean, the supermarket, the French supermarket, A-U-C-H-A-N. Ocean. Yeah. So what I have is they've got a bunch of young people, not highly educated, working as packers, as assistants in the supermarkets all over China, and it's very hard to motivate them because the pay is low. These kids probably will get more pocket money from their parents than they get from the pay most of the time. Right? They're not really well to do, but they are okay. So it's money doesn't work because they don't really have a lot of money. Personal influence from bosses doesn't really work because they don't see any career development anyway. They're not highly educated. So it's really difficult to motivate especially the packers. If you need to repack things, the backhand work, it's non-air conditioned. It's hot in summer. It's cold in winter. It's boring work. So it's really hard to motivate them. So what they eventually chance about is they organize them into groups or into teams and set performance criteria for each team and get them to compete against one another. So by the end of 3 months, 1 month, whatever, they'll look at the different KPIs for the team and see which is the best team and reward the team. Right? Of course, there's some cash rewards and other rewards. It's not the cash, it's not the money, it's the competition. That they know that internally as a team, that's how we beat other teams. They foster what they call friendly or virtuous competition within the supermarket. With Google, famous story. Right? Google has got this 20% time that you are free to do whatever you want that is outside of the scope of your work. That is only half the story. The other half of the story that is not so widely mentioned is how do you then control that 20% time is well spent? Well, how do you make sure that these engineers don't spend 20% time playing games or chatting on the internet? How do you make sure that it's productive? Turns out that there's a system where every month, 3 months, wherever there's a time frame, and it's not always fixed, that everybody will have to showcase what they've done so far. Right? And so there's pressure. You cannot just do nothing. Right? So you need to show something, and because you are showing everybody, it's got to be something showable, not a truthful. It's got to be something that looks presentable, and beyond that, we have everybody to vote, which will be the kinds of concepts, ideas, what we call prototypes, that has the most potential to succeed in a commercial way. So everybody will vote, and if you want it, if you've got such a recognition from the peers, you will lead the project. If the project becomes a hit, like you have the Google pay-per-click search, you have Android, which is spun off from Google, and so on, you can become the project leader of a potentially multi-billion dollar project. So there's incentive, there's competition, you foster it. So it really depends on how you actually manage the level of competition internally. And what I'm saying is that we are not against competition. I think some level of competition internally is good. We just want to make sure that the negative side effects of competition is taken out, or is reduced to as much as possible. Yeah, make sense? Cool. So the next part, you gotta go. See ya.
Bye guys.
Bye. The next part is about how we actually listen. We talk about leader, you need to listen. So we all listen to people from time to time. The question is, how do you then distinguish between good and bad feedback? So this is what we're going to, instead of me doing all the talking, all this while, let's have 5 minutes group discussion on what do you think are good feedback, and what do you think, or what are some of the differences between good feedback and bad feedback, and how can you, as a leader, tell the difference? We'll do that. Right? 5 minutes group discussion, and we'll see what kind of conclusion that we can have. 5 minutes.